Worst foods you can eat. Compromising your blood pressure. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic that affects so many of us, our blood pressure. We all want to live long, healthy lives, and maintaining healthy blood pressure is a key part of that. What we eat plays a huge role in our overall health, and that includes our blood pressure. Now you might be thinking, I already know that salty foods are bad for my blood pressure. And you'd be right, but what you might not know is that there are a lot of sneaky culprits hiding in plain sight. Foods you might not even realize are secretly sabotaging your health goals. So, if you're ready to take control of your health and learn about the top 10 worst foods for your blood pressure, stick around. We're going to break it all down in a way that's easy to understand, and I promise you'll walk away with practical tips you can start using today. Let's get started. Let's be honest, who doesn't love a juicy burger or a couple of slices of bacon every now and then? But the truth is, processed meats like bacon, sausage, deli meats, and hot dogs are often loaded with sodium. And it's not just a pinch of salt for flavor. We're talking about massive amounts of sodium that can send your blood pressure soaring. Why? Well, all that extra sodium makes your body hold on to water. That extra water puts added pressure on your blood vessels, making your heart work harder. Over time, this constant strain can lead to serious health problems like heart disease and stroke. But sodium isn't the only villain in processed meats. They also contain preservatives, which are chemicals used to extend shelf life. Unfortunately, some of these preservatives, like nitrates and nitrites, have been linked to an increased risk of high blood pressure. So, while those processed meats might be tempting, it's best to enjoy them sparingly. Your heart and your blood pressure will thank you in the long run. Let's move on to our next culprit. Canned soup. It's quick, it's easy, and it seems harmless enough, right? But don't let that innocent facade fool you. Canned soups are often swimming in sodium, even the ones that don't taste particularly salty. Just one serving can contain a shockingly high percentage of your daily recommended sodium intake. Remember how we talked about sodium making your body retain water? Well, the same thing happens when you eat canned soup. That excess sodium can lead to water retention, increased blood volume, and ultimately, higher blood pressure. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up canned soup altogether, but it's crucial to read those labels carefully. Look for low-sodium options or choose soups that come in cartons or boxes, as they tend to have lower sodium content. And even better, try making your own soup at home. That way, you have complete control over the ingredients and can keep the sodium in check. Let's move on to our next blood pressure bandit. Let's face it, we live in a fast-paced world, and sometimes fast food feels like the only option. But unfortunately, fast food is often a fast track to high blood pressure. Think about your typical fast food meal. Burgers, fries, fried chicken, they're all loaded with salt. And we already know that excess salt equals trouble for our blood pressure. But it's not just the salt content that's worrisome. Fast food is often high in unhealthy fats, which can contribute to high cholesterol and further increase your risk of heart disease. Now, I understand that sometimes you just gotta have a burger and fries. But try to make it an occasional treat rather than a regular habit. And when you do indulge, be mindful of your choices. Opt for smaller portions, skip the extra salt, and choose grilled or baked options over fried. Your blood pressure and your waistline will thank you. Now let's uncover another surprising culprit. They might be crunchy and tangy, but pickles are also surprisingly high in sodium. Yes, even those innocent-looking cucumbers can sabotage your blood pressure goals. The pickling process often involves soaking cucumbers in brine, which is basically a salty solution. And as we've learned, all that extra sodium can wreak havoc on your blood pressure. Now, I'm not suggesting you banish pickles from your life entirely, but moderation is key. Instead of downing a whole jar of pickles, enjoy them as a small side dish or a topping for your burger. And if you're watching your sodium intake, look for low-sodium pickle options. Remember, every little bit counts when it comes to managing your blood pressure. Let's move on to our next surprising culprit. We all know that sugary drinks aren't exactly health foods. But did you know that they can also contribute to high blood pressure? Sodas, sports drinks, and other sweetened beverages are loaded with sugar, which can lead to weight gain and insulin resistance. Both risk factors for high blood pressure. But that's not all. Some studies suggest that sugar may directly affect the blood vessels, making them less flexible and more prone to constriction. This can lead to increased blood pressure and put added strain on your heart. So, what's the solution? Ditch the sugary drinks and opt for healthier alternatives like water, unsweetened tea, or sparkling water with a splash of fruit juice. Your taste buds might need some time to adjust, but your blood pressure will thank you in the long run. Let's uncover another hidden source of sodium. Frozen pizzas are a convenient dinner option, but they're often loaded with hidden sodium. From the crust, to the sauce, to the toppings, sodium lurks in every slice. Just one serving of frozen pizza can contain a significant portion of your daily recommended sodium intake. And remember, all that extra sodium can lead to water retention, increased blood volume, and ultimately, higher blood pressure. Now I understand that sometimes a frozen pizza is just what the doctor ordered, but try to make it an occasional treat rather than a regular habit. And when you do indulge, look for lower sodium options or choose pizzas with healthier toppings like vegetables instead of processed meats. Your blood pressure will thank you. Let's move on to our next culprit. Cakes, cookies, pastries, they're also tempting, but they can also be detrimental to your blood pressure. Baked goods are often loaded with unhealthy fats, particularly trans fats, which can raise your bad cholesterol levels and lower your good cholesterol levels. This unhealthy fat combination can lead to plaque buildup in your arteries, increasing your risk of heart disease and stroke. And as we know, high blood pressure is a major risk factor for both of these conditions. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up baked goods entirely, but moderation is key. Enjoy them as an occasional treat rather than a regular part of your diet. And when you do indulge, choose baked goods made with healthier fats like olive oil or avocado oil, and watch out for added sugars. Your heart and your blood pressure will thank you. Let's move on to our next culprit. We all know that excessive alcohol consumption is bad for our health. But did you know that even moderate alcohol intake can affect your blood pressure? Alcohol can interfere with the effectiveness of blood pressure medications and can also lead to weight gain, which is a risk factor for high blood pressure. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up alcohol entirely, but moderation is key. For healthy adults, that means up to 1 drink per day for women and up to 2 drinks per day for men. And if you're watching your blood pressure, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor about what's right for you. Let's move on to our next surprising culprit. Cheese can be a delicious addition to many meals, but it's also a significant source of sodium, especially processed cheese. Just a small serving of some cheeses can contain a surprising amount of sodium, which can contribute to high blood pressure. Now, I'm not suggesting you give up cheese entirely, but moderation is key. Choose lower sodium cheese options like Swiss or mozzarella and enjoy them in moderation. And when you do indulge, be mindful of your portion sizes. Your taste buds and your blood pressure will thank you. Let's move on to our final culprit. Red meat can be a good source of protein and iron, but consuming too much of it can be detrimental to your blood pressure. Red meat is often high in saturated fat, which can raise your cholesterol levels and increase your risk of heart disease. Additionally, some studies suggest that a compound found in red meat called carnitine may contribute to high blood pressure. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up red meat entirely, but moderation is key. Choose leaner cuts of meat, trim away visible fat, and limit your intake to a few times per week. Your heart and your blood pressure will thank you. Now that we've covered the top 10 worst foods for your blood pressure, let's wrap things up. Thanks for watching. We've covered a lot of ground today. From processed meats to sugary drinks to hidden sources of sodium. Remember, making small changes to your diet can have a big impact on your blood pressure and your overall health. By being mindful of the foods you eat and making healthier choices, you can take control of your health and lower your risk of heart disease, stroke, and other serious conditions. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more health tips. Stay healthy and take care.